Well, well, well. Welcome to Friday. Of course, Friday's been going on for a little bit already, but hey. Here we go. We're going to do our weekly newsletter roundup today. Kevin Townsend, K-Creative in the house for Bamboo Solutions. If you don't know who we are, we're a product and services company on Microsoft SharePoint stuff. We do all that. Consulting, architect, development, configuration, administration, blah, 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 blah. We do it all. So, so thanks for jumping on, everybody. Today we go through our, on Fridays at noon Eastern, we go through our weekly newsletter that we send out. If you're interested in signing up for that, boy, do I have a link for you. Oh, no. Log in here. Hold up. Hold up. That's weird. I didn't have to do that before. So yeah, we got a link for you. You can sign up for the newsletter. It comes into your mailbox every Friday at 8 a.m. It's a really good, solid little newsletter that's got all of last week's latest news for the SharePoint space. It's not just SharePoint. It's also like Microsoft, Azure, anything that could ever touch SharePoint. It's there. So let me see here. This is Twizich. Go here. Let me turn these tunes down a little bit loud. Oh, come on, verify my identity. I got two-factor auth. Ready to go. I went to the email address. Dang it, and I closed Outlook. Man, rough start already. All right. Didn't ask me to do this on Wednesday when I streamed. But yeah. Let's see here. It's in there. Twitch, there it is. All right, finally do this. What was it? Okay, we're finally in. All right, so anyways, about registering for that newsletter, if you're interested. Really? What is it? Roundup, sorry, wrong code. Roundup. It's been a minute, right? So anyways, there's the link. You can register for this newsletter. We're about to take a look at it. I loaded up in the browser so that we can view it. And in the browser, when you view it, you're going to get it in your mailbox, so you can click on the top. There's a link there for view this email in your browser. When you do that, you get access to all the past issues as well. So if you're interested in kind of catching up and seeing what was going on in the past newsletters, you've got that, as well as all of our other newsletters that go out through MailChimp. So please do. You can manage your subscription too, so you can always unsubscribe if you don't like it. But yeah, here it is. So let's do this. So we got a lot of news today. Already 8 minutes past the hour here. Usually only takes about 30 minutes to go through this stuff and kind of talk about it and get caught up. So let's take a look. Top news stories for this week. We've got SharePoint in VR. Crazy, right? I still have a hard time understanding how that's going to work or be useful. So we'll see. Hit you with the news. What up, Nate? Good to see you on, man. I got your text this morning. Been busy. I will get back to you. But what is up? So yeah, SharePoint in VR. This is weird. There's actually a quick little video I was going to play. I think it's about 50 seconds long, just to kind of show what this is. But yeah, there's going to be this thing called SharePoint Spaces. We've touched on this in the past as it's been announced, but as you can see here, there's more information coming out about it, as well as a nice little video. Not sure when this got posted. Let's see here. Oh, that was May of last year. So yeah, there's that. Let me see if I can turn these tunes down and get that video playing. Go. Let's watch this.
More than ever, dynamic, impactful content is critical to the modern workplace. Introducing SharePoint Spaces, letting anyone create mixed reality experiences where data, documents, and files can be seen in immersive environments from any device. Create custom spaces, where you can visualize and manipulate data in real time. Discover and interact with objects in 3 dimensions. Explore company knowledge, making onboarding more engaging. And experience vibrant, expansive 3D environments right at your desk. SharePoint Spaces lets anyone experience content in new and exciting ways, empowering us all to achieve even more.
Interesting, right? I don't know. Take a look at this. Let me see if I can just jump around here in pause mode. Like, okay, so what was that? There's a web part for 360 video. Is that what they're showing there? And then you're going to put a headset on and you're going to navigate some, yeah, excessive. I agree. It might make more sense for those that are manufacturing things and have all of these kinds of drawings and things like that. I just don't know how I'm going to use that, but pretty neat. One of the comments, I think, was love to see how this impacts K-12 through education, or K-12 education. So yeah, maybe there is some cool ways to implement that. But anyways, kind of neat. VR in SharePoint, right? Just kind of, let's see here. SharePoint Spaces will be available for use with Microsoft HoloLens. Things back up here. So with HoloLens, as well as Oculus Quest, along with other Windows mixed reality headsets sometime in the next few months, according to Microsoft, SharePoint Spaces will allow anyone to create mixed reality experiences where data, documents, and files can be used, empowering everyone to create visually compelling spaces that are available to anyone on any device. What is this? SharePoint Spaces will allow users to create content in these 3 areas: recruiting and onboarding, learning, and product development. So it'll have some focus areas. That's good. Learning for sure, product development for sure, recruiting and onboarding. That's interesting. 360-degree video message from leadership. They can navigate the campus or building with 3D maps. So it's going to be some larger companies that might do that. But yeah, interesting, right? All right, second up, don't blame SharePoint, blame IT. This is an interesting post. This guy's got like a love-hate relationship with SharePoint. And the gist of it is that SharePoint seems to have been built by IT for IT. And it's not exactly the most well-executed strategy, I guess, for meeting business needs and requirements. So anyways, it's a good post. He jumps on both sides of the line, loves it and hates it. But yeah, you know, just one of those opinionated posts. Hey, what's up, Katie? Good morning. How is it out there in Hawaii? Was it 7 a.m.? Right? Or is it ahead? I keep forgetting. No, it's behind. Yeah, someday I'll get the time right out there in Hawaii. But anyways, about the this post, he kind of talked about how, like, as an example of poor execution was records management, and how the IT side of implementing a records management system in SharePoint did hit all of the points. They kind of lost sight of the real reason we needed records management, and probably the most intuitive way to implement something like that. So anyways, good post. Check it out if you're interested in that. Number 3, 8 capabilities that should be among your 2020 SharePoint intranet resolutions. This is interesting. I don't have any SharePoint resolutions, but I guess these are some things we want to do as we move forward into 2020 and modern SharePoint. So here's the bullet list of the 8. Create an organizational assets site, which is kind of new, at least to me it is. So you can provision an organization asset library now. This is where you're going to host all the branding and imagery and things like that you're going to want to use across the tenant for your people to be able to select from. You can do this through PowerShell. Right here it says you can register one or more document libraries via PowerShell as a special source for images such as photos, logos across all sites. So yeah, you probably want to do that. In fact, I probably want to do that on a couple of my implementations right now. That way you've got one place to update them if they do change, and it should just kind of roll out to everywhere anyone's used it across your organization, which is nice. Some tips for your organizational asset library: call the site collection organization assets, or org assets. Seems obvious, but you know, create a separate library for logos, consider adding a library for leadership headshots, use folders to organize photos. Don't forget to provide training and guidance. Some other things that he talked about were using headings on long pages. So you get a lot of content on a page vertically. Use some headings to help separate that and get the users to be able to navigate between those sections. Make sure that the site pages library on every site shows version and promoted state. Kind of interesting. So if you're not familiar, SharePoint Modern in SharePoint Online, the site templates have this news capability, but really when you create a news item and you say add new news item, it's going and building a new site page for each one. And so I think the thinking here is that if you show version and promoted state, when you go to the site pages document library, you can better identify which stuff is actually being promoted and what version it's on. Implement a home site when it's available for your tenant. Yep. I'll actually just scroll down here so you can see some of the other sub points here. Resolve to implement a home site when it's available. This was announced at SharePoint Conference 2019. Organization news. The home site will automatically become an organization news site. The home site does not have to be the only organization news site. You can specify several sites as official or authoritative news sites. That's cool. Tenant-wide search scope. Boom. Integration with the SharePoint start page. These are all things that the home site gives you. You get a navigation link, menu integration, theme integration, mobile app home button. And then resolve to be inspired by the SharePoint lookbook. So as we move forward into 2020 and implement our solutions out there for customers and with customers, I use the lookbook every time I go to a new customer. I use it as an example of what could be done in SharePoint, so I'm totally on board with this one. Resolve to personalize and target content. So talking about how audience targeting for pages and news is very important and can really get the right information to the right people. Audience targeting for navigation, which is coming soon. Say anything about a timeline there? It's definitely a big one that I'm interested in rolling out. Resolve to make your pages accessible to all audiences. An important goal for this person, is this Susan? Yeah, Susan Hanley wrote this one, cool. In 2020 is to make sure that they think about accessibility on every page that they create in SharePoint. For the past 3 years, she says, I've tried to weave in my no more click here mantra in pretty much every training and conference presentation I deliver. Hyperlinks should always be on the target, not the word. Here. One reason is that it makes the page more scannable. Readers can quickly scan and find hyperlinks without having to stop and read the text before and after the word. So, yeah. What else? Resolve to continue to learn. That was the last one. I hope everyone's got that on their New Year's resolution list. If you have that and are doing that kind of thing, learning. Super important, right, Katie? Gonna be learning some marketing skills there, maybe? Let's see here. What else we got? SharePoint customization tips. How to optimize your organization's intranet. Let's see. While the basic functionalities, they say, who is this? This is Aaron. Is that how you say that? Iron? While the basic functionalities already satisfy the collaboration and communication requirements of most organizations, it's always best to put a personal touch to your intranet. So this 2020, make sure to include SharePoint customizations. This particular post is very similar to the last one, where they're kind of calling out some functionality that we probably want to aim to implement and use in the coming year. So for instance, creating a home site, we just talked about that. Let's do that. Creating a swipe file for organization logos, images, and documents. I'm not sure what a swipe file is. It's a new term for me, but if I'm not mistaken, it's the identical to the organization assets library we just talked about, where we're going to sort of centrally manage and host those branding assets. Use headings to break down long pages we talked about. Use SharePoint's audience targeting feature, and that's it. So two very similar posts. Obviously, everyone's kind of got the same plan in 2020. Let's implement some of this new stuff and continue to innovate using the new features. So Microsoft launched its preview of Office 365's Fluid Framework. I signed up for this preview, and I got on there and I started to use their new designer tool, or whatever you call it, configuring. I don't know. I think it's a Power App, if I'm not mistaken. But it allows you to, when I logged in, at least from what I saw, probably about a month, maybe a month and a half ago, you've got this, it's pretty much like a content builder. It's like one of those real basic Word, if you will, in the browser where you can insert tables and type your text and do this stuff. But when you do that in Fluid Framework, it becomes this component that can be pasted into other communication platforms like Outlook in an email or in Microsoft Teams in a chat. And if you're not familiar with what Fluid Framework does, then it makes all of that stuff sort of real-time interactable. Is there an example on here? Let's see, right here. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, all text. I'm looking for the video. Maybe just an animated image. Here you go. I can't zoom in on that, can I? Open image in a new tab. So this is a little bit about what that is going to be like. You see how this is all these different platforms of being able to work on something. So you got Microsoft Word, you got Outlook, and you got Teams over here, and just a whole bunch of other things, right? But these Fluid Framework components are going to be real-time editable. So as I'm editing in Teams, that table that someone pasted in there, it's also updating in real time and showing who's doing the updating in Outlook if they're looking at it from there, etc. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah, previews out there. It seems those the animated image we just watched, and you're kind of seeing that in a really polished demo. It doesn't quite feel that way when you actually go to do the preview and play with it. Not yet. It will be, I'm sure, but currently feels a little bit beta. Yeah. Let's see here. Microsoft's new 365 terms. I was reading through this too. This all kind of stems from the Dutch Ministry of Justice and the Microsoft kind of back and forth on privacy of data and things like that. There were a few outcomes to this post, 4 high-level changes that Microsoft are going to make changes to their terms of service based on the interaction they've had with the Ministry of Justice over there. I'll just kind of call them out. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but the post is there in the newsletter for you to read in. So the 4 high-level changes that Microsoft notes are that they're going to allow, so the terms will state, allows Microsoft to process customer data and personal data as a processor for 3 authorized purposes: delivering the services, troubleshooting, and ongoing improvement. Those should be the only reasons, right? Excludes processing of customer data and personal data for the purpose of profiling, advertising, or similar commercial purposes, or market research, unless it's done in accordance with documented instructions from the customer. Clarifies that Microsoft has the responsibilities of a data controller if it processes customer data and personal data for certain additional listed legitimate business operations with specific limitations. Yeah, these are wordy, but yeah, so adds clarity and additional details based on customer feedback. Example around how customers can engage with Microsoft to audit Microsoft's data processing pursuant to GDPR. Yeah, so wordy stuff, little legal there, but those are the changes that have come to the terms for usage of Office 365. And I think is it for Azure 365 and Dynamics and Intune. Yep. All right, let's go to the next one. What's behind the rumored Office 365 password manager? This is new to me. I haven't seen this, but apparently there's rumors floating around that Microsoft is going to release a new rebranded or a new edition of Office 365 for consumers and home users. That's going to be called Microsoft 365 Life. And so inside of this new package or edition, they're saying that Microsoft is developing a password management tool. Really kind of neat, right? So a couple of things he mentions in this post are that, first of all, Microsoft really relaxed the password requirements and the periodicity of prescribing resets of passwords. So it makes sense then that they would promote a password management tool to sort of, since users aren't going to reset their password as often as they used to because the requirements are a little bit relaxed, he's saying. Password management tool makes a lot of sense because now the users will use more complex passwords as opposed to, and they won't reuse passwords, right? A couple of neat statistics that came out of this post was that there were over 44 million Azure Active Directory and Microsoft Services accounts that are vulnerable to hijacking because those accounts are using passwords that are in those password databases out there on the web that tell you they've been compromised. So 44 million users in Active Directory, Azure Active Directory, or Microsoft services like Hotmail have compromised passwords. That's insane, right? So anyways, this password management tool is an idea. At least this is all rumor, but maybe that'll help manage that. Pretty neat, right? Crazy to me, though. 44 million people have passwords or are using passwords currently that have been compromised. Just in these two platforms. I definitely use a password management tool. You guys? I'm interested if you do. I actually started with Dashlane. Dashlane was my first password management tool. I really enjoyed it. Great experience. And then I switched over to 1Password just because I got to play with everything. And now 1Password. I like 1Password because I follow Troy Hunt a lot. If you don't follow him, he's like this really awesome security dude. And anyways, he built a site called Have I Been Pwned? I don't even know how you say that word, honestly. Have I been... Here we go. So you can come here and type in your email address and it'll tell you, because he's compiled all of those leaks out there and all those compromised accounts from all the data that's available. And you can type your email address in here and find out if your account has been compromised and in which leak it was compromised, which is really cool. So anyways, the reason I chose 1Password, 8 times, huh? Woof. Yeah. Should I do mine? No, I shouldn't do mine on screen. But anyways, 1Password has integrated with this tool. And so that's why I switched over to that password management tool, 1Password, because of the integration with this. And if Troy Hunt is in any way connected to it, then it's got to be pretty solid, right? Or at least they're moving in the direction of staying apprised to the latest and greatest. I'm down with that. What else? So the first Edge Dev build of the year is based on Chromium 81. Not a lot of detail in here. Just saying that Chromium 81 is out and the new Edge Dev build is now using Chromium 81, which is the open source version of Chrome browser, or at least the engine, right? The Chromium project. So I won't go through them in detail here, but there's an example or a list here of some of the changes and updates that were made, a bunch of the fixes that were made in Chromium 81 and the release recent Edge build, as well as a whole bunch of other. What is this one? This is the some of the issues that's still outstanding. So yeah, if you're into that, trying to understand what's going on with your dev build, there you go. There's a list of them. This was interesting. Microsoft Teams getting Walkie Talkie mode. That's pretty crazy, right? Walkie Talkie mode. I got on the call this morning for our stand-up and I was like, hey, how are we going to use Walkie Talkie mode? Yeah. So it's a feature that will likely get the most buzz from end users about all these recent announcements. But The Verge here points out that Walkie Talkie functionality is surprisingly scarce in the mobile phone space. And Microsoft built the Walkie Talkie functionality natively into Teams, and it works over Wi-Fi or cellular connections, which is kind of cool, right? Like you could have Walkie Talkie anywhere in the world if it's cellular based. What's that phone carrier that used to be real big on that? Was it Nextel? I thought it started with an N. Remember, they were like the big walkie-talkie phone company. Didn't Sprint acquire them or something like that? Yeah. So anyways, it reminds me a lot of that back in the day. And I was trying to think about like the use cases for that. Is it going to be more on the field worker side that you would use walkie-talkie, like a guy's walking around the warehouse and you need to talk to him? Or yeah, I don't know. I was trying to figure that out. Where is that going to be used that it's such a major announcement? I don't know. So anyways, Microsoft announced several other tools and features for Microsoft 365, and here's a brief list of them. So you got task targeting, publishing, and reporting. You got workforce management integrations, SMS sign-in. I don't know what that means, but that sounds really cool. SMS sign-in. I mean, I'd be able to text from Teams. God, that'd be great. If we could get some Windows, iPhone text integration, dude. I know. Jason, don't even say it. Android for the win. Whatever. Shared device sign out. Off shift access controls for Teams app. Nextel Walkie Talkie. Boom. I was right. Dusted off that brain cell, didn't I? Beep, beep. Delegated user management, inbound provisioning from SAP SuccessFactors to Azure AD. Okay, SAP. So yeah, bunch of new announcements coming down the pipe. Last but not least here for top news stories. We're a little running low on time here, so I'm just going to speed it up a little. Even with SharePoint migration tools, planning is required. Now we've seen these post quite a bit, and they all kind of state the same, right? We got to spend time planning. People like to say, oh, you know what? Let's go to SharePoint Online. Let's do it tomorrow. We got the tool. Do this. It's just, through experience. This is from Christian Buckley. You just can't do that. It doesn't end up turning out well. Anyways, plan, and then plan some more. That's his prescription here. So just highlight a couple of points he makes. Don't rush the process. Identify all your customizations. Don't treat all the sites and end users the same. Build out a testing schedule and then have a rollback plan. So yeah, if you're coming up on a migration and you're looking for some ammo to put in your belt for the meeting, that didn't sound right. Sorry. If you're looking for some tools at your disposal to have a conversation with the team and tell them, no, we don't want to rush this, then there you go. There's a tool for you right there. Around the blogosphere. Let's jump through these real quick. Introduction to the SharePoint Framework. This is awesome. So if you're getting into SharePoint Framework development, you're interested in it, maybe you haven't started to look into it really, Rob Windsor, if you're not familiar with him, he's a Microsoft MVP. He's starting to actually stream on Twitch. And so one of his initial streams was an introduction to the SharePoint Framework. So it'll help you walk through the whole setup, configuration, and deployment of a SharePoint web part. There's quite a few of these out there now, but Rob Windsor's got a really good one here, and I really like his teaching style. Very easy to understand and follow along with. And he's got some real good gotcha pointers in there as you get through installing all the dependencies like Node and the versions you can use and things like that. I would definitely check that out. So he does have a Twitch channel. It looks like he might be online right now, hosting. Oh no, he's hosting C# Fritz. There you go. Okay, so SharePoint Roadmap pit stop. Good stuff in here, man. Always good stuff in the roadmap. So I'm going to jump down here to where they kind of bulleted out. So, excuse me. Audience targeting and SharePoint organizational news. Check this out, right? So they got the audience column here in their site pages library. Now you can see exactly what page this audience is targeted to. And I got a good screenshot, couple of screenshots down here that show you the difference, right? So when you audience target, for instance, Megan, who is in an HR members group, and Nestor is his name, who is in the marketing members group, you can see the content that they're going to see is different, right? Because we've targeted that news item out to specific groups. So very useful. It's been around for a while in on-prem, just not in the same execution, I guess, if you will. And it looks to be a really simple process now, and it's very easy to identify who's seeing what. This is cool too, Microsoft Forms. I love forms, but they're super basic, right? You've got like 5 question types, maybe 6 or 7, I forget. But they're all just, it's pretty basic. There's no, what am I trying to say? I don't think there's any, is there show hide? I think there might be show hide fields based on a value in a previous field. But there's not, it's all one column. And so anyways, the forms are pretty basic. So anyways, new form field type announced. So now you can actually add and upload for a file. So users can actually upload a file here. It is limited. Where did it say here? It looks like they can be accessed. The files can be accessed either in SharePoint or OneDrive in Microsoft 365, depending on the form type. Group forms use SharePoint, while personal forms use OneDrive. Form creators can limit the number and size of files as well as specify the file types. So that's good. Adds a little security to it. What else here? Multiple updates to the SharePoint Admin Center. There's a bunch of them, actually. The new option to replace the root site is now in there. Do that. Super handy. I've done that every time I've had a customer implementation on 365. We have always replaced the root site. Permissions panel. You got a new view there. It kind of breaks it down a little bit nicer and makes it more presentable. I like it a lot, actually. On hover people cards. So this is cool. So if you hover over a person, I think you have to click them to get this big card, expanded card, to open up, if I'm not mistaken. Customizable navigation pane. So now that nav bar, that vertical nav bar in SharePoint Admin Center is customizable. So you can actually say, you know what, I'm not going to use the migration one. Let's just not show that. Do that. More features page, no longer listed as the classic features page. And they also took away the link on the classic features page to show more features. So now you just see all the classic features on a page called more features. Yeah. Additional site level sharing settings, design updates, teamwork updates across SharePoint team sites, OneDrive, and Microsoft Teams. So this is a really cool section. I wasn't aware of this stuff coming, so I'm really interested in this. These were released in December 2019, it says. Column totals settings. So now when you click on a column heading, there's a totals bar there, and you can actually just go ahead and navigate that right there. You don't have to go set it up in the column itself, or in the view, sorry. Rich text formatting. Check this out. Check it out. A WYSIWYG over there to format the content in the view. Pretty freaking cool. I love it. Haven't tried it yet, so I don't know about all the little intricacies of it, but man, that looks good. Alternating rows. What? Where have you been? Check that out. To apply it to a SharePoint list, click the down-facing arrow to the right of the top All Items list header option, select Format Current View, and then click Edit Row Styles. Boom. Looks like you get to specify the color there in a color picker, potentially. Maybe. All right, what else? Retirement of SharePoint Classic and Delve blogs. Yep, so those blogs are going to be retired. You will now be using the communication sites and news posts to do that. Modernized Delve blogs and Classic blogs includes the community-supported PNP page transformation tool. So there are options here related to resources to this topic. Microsoft Flow becoming Microsoft Power Automate. Oh, gotta make sure it's called the same thing everywhere. So they're making that update. Outlook on the web is a progressive web app. Just tested this out a minute ago. Pretty neat. I was reading some news about this. So if you open outlook.office.com, which is your Office 365 for Business Outlook on the web, you open that up. If you open it up in a, what's it got to be in? Is it a Chromium-based browser? It's got to be a Chromium-based browser. So either the new Microsoft Edge or Chrome. I know there's some others out there, but those are the two major ones, right? You can click on apps in your browser settings and then install that site as an app. And it worked really well. And I heard saw some great comments about performance too, because it's supposed to run like a native app. So yeah, there's that. One of the things we identified right up front though is that Word spell check works a little different in Outlook, the desktop client, as it does in a web. Right? You get the squigglies in the web, but you got to right-click the squiggly and change the word. Right? So that was a thing. There were some January 2020 predictions. Prediction number 1, custom search results pages for SharePoint sites. And then prediction number 2, SharePoint page version history. Tell everyone. Here's some helpful ongoing change management resources and the top support articles Karen mentioned on the podcast. What do we got here? Most popular article was download and install a SharePoint migration tool. Good new article to highlight creating and launching a healthy SharePoint portal. Popular recent one was Intro to File Collaboration in Microsoft 365 powered by SharePoint. Yep. So anyways, great stuff in the roadmap as usual. What else we got going on here? Customized forms and the SharePoint document libraries with Power Apps. This is so cool. I can't wait to do this. I haven't done it yet. But you can now open up your document library and customize the form directly in Power Apps, giving you full control, well, a lot of control, let's say, over the presentation of how data is input into the forms there for that document library. Super cool. Add a shortcut to a SharePoint document stored in a different document library. Fixing a document content type that I could not change in SharePoint. How to gain access to Microsoft Teams sites using SharePoint Designer. Latest SharePoint Dev Weekly. State of the Intranet in a box. 8 predictions from Microsoft Office 365 in 2020 and beyond. Let's see, what are these predictions from the collab show? Is SharePoint dead? Is the Intranet dead? Yeah. Power Platform expert explosion. Today, organizations have few experts this coming year. You're going to see companies get serious about the Power Platform. True that, I agree. Personal and team investments and certification. This is the year of certification. You think so? I don't know, man. I feel like certifications were like 2008. I think, I don't know. What else? SharePoint community continues move to Office or Microsoft 365 rebranding, but will it happen soon enough? The splintering of Teams community, Power Platform community, and SharePoint community will continue. Project Cortex, going to be huge, no doubt. We've covered Project Cortex a couple of times since Microsoft Ignite. Can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be so cool, man. So cool. AI ML driving a dynamic knowledge base of all the things it finds in your organization. Really cool. Microsoft Teams is going to take on a much, much more significant role in the organization. Yep. I think since Teams came out and they started to implement SharePoint Framework as solution options in Microsoft Teams, it's been obvious, right? It's going to be the browser to Office 365, to your organization. Going to have, and especially Wednesday, we covered some news about how you can now run and configure Teams, like the whole left side of the navigation as well as the tabs within a channel. You're going to have control over that, and you can add SharePoint pages in there as SharePoint sites. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. One tool. And actually, my current customer that we're working with, one of them, we're driving in that direction so that their users literally just open up Teams and they've got everything there that they need to do their work. They've got all the SharePoint pages, all the libraries. They don't actually ever have to go to SharePoint unless they're doing something a little bit more advanced. What else? Microsoft stock split. It's been many, many years since Microsoft stock split. I'm long Microsoft and I've seen this run up. There's more to go. Okay. Year of organizational video. Would be a fantastic year to get focused on Microsoft Stream and make this the year the organization makes video happen in a big way for your organization. Blah, blah, blah. Yep. My predictions from 2019, he reviews them. That's kind of cool. Way to stick with it, man. All right. We is out of time, so I'm going to run through these SharePoint events real quick, and then we'll just jump off and get our Friday going. So SharePoint events. We got a lot of SharePoint Saturdays coming up. You got Virginia Beach coming up. That'd be fun. What? Let me see this. Virginia Beach. How far of a drive is that for us, Jason? Four hours? That's kind of a long one. Let's see here. I'm going to go from this location. Yeah, 4 hours. Good job. Yeah, that'd be quite the trip. I don't know, man. But that would be fun. What else we got coming up? So we got SharePoint Saturdays. Let's see here. We got Virginia Beach. We got San Diego coming up. You got St. Louis. Chennai. Is that how I say that? Cairo. Bremen. Whoa, look at this. Now we got new Saturdays. We got Microsoft 365 Saturdays. I haven't seen that before. Sacramento, SharePoint Fest coming up in DC and Seattle. What else? We got Bamboo Product Suites. So I'm doing a webinar on January 16th and the 23rd. If you're interested in checking those out, I'm going to talk about all the product suites we have to help cover some common extensions you might need in your SharePoint farm. Bamboo Services. We're going to talk about all the things that Bamboo Solutions does now on the services side. Most people don't know that we have services. And we can provide all that stuff, all that help you need on demand even. Fest in April. Yep. You going to go to that? I want to go. Let's coordinate. Maybe I'll wear a giant panda suit and walk around the fest. Oh, it's expensive? Yeah. That's the way to do it, man. Make it out of reach for most people. Perfect. All right, so anyways, Office 365 Saturdays and Microsoft 365 Saturdays. Check that out, huh? So you got one in San Diego. Where's our other Office 365 in Redmond? And then for the Microsoft 365, you got one in Salt Lake City and Chicago suburbs. That's kind of generic, isn't it? Yeah, boy. SP TechCon, San Francisco, February 18th through the 21st. We will be there, actually. Bamboo Solutions will have a booth, so if you're going, Rob Manfredi will be there. Go shake his hand. Say what's up. I think he's got some handouts. I'll have some cool stuff there. Go see us. I think that's it. We have done it again. We've recapped the SharePoint Weekly Newsletter Roundup. Well, Jason, Nate, Katie, thank you guys for jumping on today. Thanks for chatting me up. Going to be doing some work on the channel here. Going to be actually working on a different way of presenting our webinars as well. That's not so old school, so stay tuned. All right, man. See you. You guys have a wonderful Friday. Peace out.
That is what I've been waiting for.